Good evening, everyone. Jose J. Garcia, real estate investor, coach, and mentor on another Sunday night, 8 p.m. EST time live with a very special guest. You're going to hear a lot about Christianity, faith, and business here in a few minutes. But before we get started, I want to tell you about our guest and why we're bringing them onto the podcast this evening. So, Pedro Sanchez Jr. is an author, entrepreneur. He's a leadership coach, financial consultant, the founder of Blue X, has over 20 years experience in leadership development, engineering, management. That's a long list of success. I love it. I'm not done. And training in diverse sectors and organizations. He's trained with Dave Ramsey. All of us know who that is. Financial Peace University and Maxwell Leadership Team. Pedro, it's an honor to have you on here. How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. Doing great. Thank you for this good opportunity. All that to say, I love to serve people. That's pretty much the wholeness of all that, all those titles and everything that I do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I had mentioned previously, we follow your social media and a lot of great stuff. So for those of you tuning in, this is the third try. There's been a little technical issues, but we're going to get over that. We are going to share Pedro's social media links below on this video. So watch the replay, go follow his channels, and definitely connect with him. A lot of good stuff he's doing. So definitely for the communities. But so Pedro, diving back into as we left off, is how has your faith influenced the journey into your business and or entrepreneurship?
Yeah, as we were saying, pretty much it's influence on my life. Pretty much knowing that there's something bigger, there's something out there bigger that we just weren't here just to be here and do nothing, right? If not, in every day of my life, I faith is an active thing that I practice. I think we all practice it, we just don't know it. For example, when people say I have a dream, I have an idea, I have something in my heart I want to do. I don't know if it's gonna work. You start embarking into it, into that journey. That's faith, right? I mean, Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now is faith assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." So, us as entrepreneurs, investors, people that want to go into business by ourselves, or want to gain something, we all believe in something. We believe we're gonna get it, even though we don't see it. We put the time, the investment, the time equity, the relationship equity, all the training we do is believing in something we don't see. So we all, in what say some way or other, we all play the faith game. We just probably call it something different, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And Jose, as they start planting into this idea game, into the faith arena, they think that that's where everything begins, and honestly, everything ends. Sorry, and honestly, that's where everything begins. Everything begins because the reality hits and say, okay, now I have to do something. I have this idea. I have this dream that I want to accomplish, and people think that just by having that, it's enough. No, I mean the Bible, the Black Book as they call it, it tells you if you don't work for it, you're gonna get it, right? You just
Mm-hmm.
can't dream it. James chapter 2, verse 26, the latter part of that verse says, "So faith without works is dead." But
Uh,
the first part of that Jose says, "Without the spirit, your body is dead." So it's pretty much saying if your body, your physical body doesn't have a spirit, you're walking dead. So that's the same way as your faith. If you don't work your faith, if you don't work what you believe, your dream, your idea, you ain't gonna gain anything. So
implement
for
it.
me,
Wow,
it's
that's
huge.
huge. That's huge because I hear a lot of people say, I do know a few people that say that. It's like, well, I'm just going to pray that it this and it's that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I have faith, but I feel like also there's a little part of it, if it's meant to me, it's up to me in a sense. So faith is phenomenal, but you got to put in the work. So that's great. Absolutely. Can you share a personal experience where your faith played any significance in business?
Man, I have a lot of scenarios, but I could give you a right now scenario, and I'll give you a little backstory to give you some context of this scenario. I lived and breathed for 23 years manufacturing, CAD CAM, the computer aided drafting, computer aided machining business. I went up the ranks from helping passing papers to the engineering instructor,
Mm.
to becoming the instructor at 17 and a half years old, teaching engineers the
Wow.
computer aided drafting and machining, right? From there, I went up the ranks become the main instructor, started learning coding. I learned coding by a mentor, a coach, writing logic. That's where my engineering interest starts happening, right? I start getting early, 2 hours early before my day of work, traveling 45 minutes to learn how to code, right? So I'm giving everything that I have. And then I become a manager. And then I go into the corporate world for 15 years. I go into the corporate, that's where you want to get to, right? You want to get to the corporate ladder and be one of the key leaders of corporate until you become a number. After you become a number, then you're not needed anymore. After 23 years, one day I get up, I'm learning emotional intelligence as a manager in the corporate world. After I finish my emotional intelligence class, at 3 p.m., I got a call from HR, and I'll get let go. Just like that. Just like that. Lived, breathed for 23 years. Had an engineering team. I built it from chaos to one of the best departments in the company I work for. Then I become a number. I get let go. 24 hours. Making over 6 figures to now making nothing. Now, what happens after that? You go home and what's happening? A lot of things are happening through your brain, right? A lot of things are going through your mind. God, who were you? I've done everything right. What's going on? What did I do wrong? Were there any red flags that I didn't catch? There wasn't proper processes that they expected for me as a manager to give. It wasn't done to me, right? So now you start asking all these questions, echoing what? Now I got to talk to my family. I'm successful, and now from success to zero, right? So then I had something, Jose, that was echoing in my spirit. Your faith has been being exercised since you were a kid. What got you there was your faith, not how smart you were, not how good you think you were, right? If not, your faith got you there, and if it got you there, it's gonna get you through this process as well, right? So your faith wasn't in people, Pedro, and then now the Spirit is talking to me. Your faith wasn't on people. Your faith wasn't on places or things. Your faith wasn't the creator that created you. And that doesn't define you, you define it. Right? So now I had to start shifting my mindset that, yes, I invested 23 years, but now what I invested in 23 years, I could gain a lot faster with the knowledge, with the experience that I have gained. Now I can expedite the success. And 29 months later, now I'm here, still successful, still happy, right? Not defined by what I had, if not defined by what I have within me, and I can bless others with it as well. With that is faith.
So what I'm gathering here, and of course it's always I'm sure it's a crushing blow at those points when that happened, like almost, it hit you with something that wasn't supposed to happen. But at the same time, I'm almost hearing that door had to shut for a new one to open. Is that about, it had to, that old life had to go, even though obviously you were killing it, you were there. That wasn't where you were supposed to be. That was enough of that. So that's remarkable. A little bit more into that. How do you think we can see when we should not be somewhere? I guess I'm thinking into it a little bit more here. Is I want to find all the right doors. The faster I find them, the faster I can get there, the better I can become, whatever. But how do you know when you're in the wrong place, even if you are doing well, I guess?
Because I'll give you a good answer for that. It's funny because 2 months before that happened, I'm sitting at dinner with my wife. And I tell my wife's name is Sheila. I said, Sheila. In Spanish sounds nicer, Chela, so I told her, I don't know what's going on, but I feel my spirit. Sometimes we feel things, we don't even know how to identify it, right? As you get closer to God, as you go get closer to the Creator, right? However you want to call him, right? I call him God. I call him the Son Jesus, right? That's what I call him. That's how I know him. I said, something's gonna go down. I don't know when, how, or where, but I feel my time is coming to an end.
Mm.
I don't know when, how, because I was in the top of the mountain, like you say, right? I was one of the top leaders in that corporation. I trained leaders to become great leaders in the corporation. So you never
Mm.
think that something like that is going to happen to you because they see you in a respectful way. That's what you think, right? In a grand, in a great way as a leader. So 2 months before that, I told my wife. So I started preparing myself. I don't know what's going to happen, So now I'm paying more attention, trying to see red flags, right? It's trying to see who's trying to set something up, trying to do God's work. But like you said, he needed to close that door because I needed to do something bigger and better. But I got complacent because
Mm-hmm.
I was used to great and
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see greatness, right? So sometimes we limit ourselves by what we have and we're afraid. It's like investors, right? I made all this money. I don't want to reinvest it because I made all this money. No,
Yeah.
you got to learn how to let go. That's why you got two hands. And God wants us to have the hands open, not one open and one closed, if not have them both open. So when you receive, you also give, right? And that should be your model as an investor, as a human, right? You receive love, give love. You receive grace, give grace. You receive blessings, give blessings,
Yes.
and always have your hands wide open to be a blessing. As you receive, you give.
Absolutely. That's very very well put. Okay. Are there any specific biblical principles or teachings that you apply into your businesses as entrepreneur?
Yes, I mean, there's a couple. I'll share a couple with you guys. There's a story that talks about a master and his servants, right? And this story is in Luke chapter 16, verse 11. If people want to go and search for it a little more, I'm paraphrasing here. At the end, he saw that two of them invested well. The other one did not invest. Didn't even put the money in the bank for interest. So even the master knew at a minimum, put your money in the bank for interest at a minimum if you want to play it really, 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 really safe, you know? So he took the blessing of that person that didn't even invest in a bank and gave it to the one that knew how to invest it. And he
Mm.
said, well done, good, faithful servant. You were faithful in the little, now you will be faithful with a lot. See, you cannot be blessed with a lot if you're not faithful with the little.
Mm.
People I want to get blessed. I want a lot of money. No, you can't do that if you're not even faithful with the small things, with the details, right? That's why I love engineering, right? Is you got to pay attention to the details. But that's why I love numbers. You got to pay attention to the numbers. That
Right.
matters, right? That matters. And then we go to, I'm sorry, that story was in Matthew 25:21. That story of the servants and the master, Matthew 25:21. Now Luke 16:11 says, so if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, right, who will trust you with true riches? So
Mm.
if you can't be trusted, that's why when somebody believes in me and says, Pedro, I want to trust you with my investments. And like right now, I run property management because an investor trusts me with all his properties, right? And so I want to trust you. So I treat that like if it was mine. I'm gonna treat it with excellence. Every choice I make, I'm gonna make sure that it's the right choice. And if I don't know if it's the right choice, I'm gonna find mentors. I'm gonna find counseling to make sure I make the right choice for my investor. Because if he could trust me with the little, as he grows, I'll be growing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And then the last one is that I always look at biblical principles is considering the cost of whatever you're going to do. In this story, the followers of Christ, he's telling the disciples, you got to consider the cost of being my disciple, right? It's going to cost you friends. It's going to cost you family. It's going to cost you probably your businesses because you decided to follow me, right? Go against the grain, if we could say. But after that, he says, if you don't understand what I'm trying to tell you, I'm going to explain it in a way that you could understand it. And that's in Luke 14:28 through 30. He says, for which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first and count the cost. That sounds a lot like investors, right? Whether he has enough to finish it, lest after he has laid the foundation, he is not able to finish it, all who sees will begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. See, so we got to consider the cost as investors, right? As anything that we do in our real estate life, ventures, entrepreneurships, businesses, doesn't matter the category of your businesses, we got to consider the cost. And we hear this all the time, Jose, from our mutual coaches, right? Know your numbers, know your numbers. Pretty much it's saying consider the cost, right? Write it down. What is the best worst case scenario, right? We hear it all the time as in our coaching sessions, is a biblical principle. And those three principles I carry with me every time I'm trying to make a decision. I go back to that. Am I doing the due diligence? Am I in the right place? Have I consulted with the right people? If I'm getting into this industry, have I consulted with the people that have been there a long time? Even if I have to invest money to get their coaching, I want to make sure that I'm considering the cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are the biblical principles.
Entrepreneur. I said it before we went live on Instagram, and I'm going to say it on here because all of you who do listen to this recording here, pick up a Bible if you don't already have one. I try to read it, and one of my first coaches said, I guess I started out with almost like a little bragging of, hey, I've read this book and I've read this book. I just wanted him to know what I was been reading. I figured it help me kind of thing. And he said, he just kind of listened and said, all these books are great. They're great. I'm glad you're reading them. You're going to pick up nuggets, whatever, from each one. He said, but the most important book where all these books here you got derived from, it's called the Bible. Why don't you read? It's all there. And it just like, wow, and like you're saying, all these things. Now, I guess some things maybe we're not ready to understand yet. It's not the time. Because you read the Bible over again, and it's like, well, it's a whole different message, 100%. Now you're ready for a little bit more. So definitely get a Bible if you don't read. And I mean, this is huge for any business and even just living a positive life. You got to have Christianity and you got to have faith. Okay.
That's right.
So moving on, Pedro, how do you handle setbacks? I know you had this one big setback here, but having these little setbacks, and they happen as an entrepreneur, Les Brown would say, as an entrepreneur, you're leaving a problem, you're heading to a problem, or you're in a problem. You're a problem solver. And a lot of those times can feel like setbacks. How do you keep positive and faith during these situations?
Well, you have to have a core you have to have core values. You have to know what you believe, who you believe in, right? And it's got to be consistent. And you can't be faking. You can't be faking it, right? It's like fake business people, right? You start talking, you're like, yeah. I think you want to be a business person, right? But how you're talking, you're not even close, right? It's the same thing with faith. Same thing with faith. Faith has a language.
Okay.
Faith has a language, right? It's like yourself. I was giving you kudos when I saw you in New Jersey. Congratulating you with the bodybuilding and accolades you're gaining, right? But that's work. That's work. That's consistency, discipline. You're building those muscles. The same thing with faith. You have to be true to your faith. You got to build the muscle of faith so you can confront not just the challenges of investing in a career, but challenges of life. Life will hit you, not if, it's when it's going to hit you, right? So you just don't leave or call on faith when it's needed. Because when it's needed, you're going to be too late. You got to be proactive. It's like an investor. It's like a businessman. You always got to be learning to be ready for the opportunity, because if the opportunity comes, you're going to be too late. You won't be ready. So faith is the same thing. You've got to exercise the muscle of faith consistently through prayer, meditation, reading the Bible, to become one with it. So it's always going to be activated, even if it's for small things or big things. Faith will always be activated whenever you need it. So that's how I handle challenges, through this challenge that I went through in the last 29 months, when I had to recreate myself. I need a lot of faith, man. A lot of faith. A lot of faith, a lot of mercy, and thank God for my family and close friends, right? When you come to realize when life hits you, the last thing you think about is about money.
Mm,
That's the last thing that you think about.
mm-hmm.
You think about how am I going to get up again? How am I going to be resilient? How am I going to get back on my feet? How am I going to support my family? Family around you, friends around you. That's what you think about. I got to get back on it because already I lost everything. So what's left? What's left is you better have peace, love, joy, because joy comes every morning. It doesn't mean that things are going right. Joy overshadows happiness all day,
Hmm.
right? Nobody knew I was going through the struggle in my church. Nobody. I was a campus
Wow.
pastor. Nobody knew it. Why? Because it wasn't their problem. It was between me and the creator. He was the one that decided to close that door. He is the one responsible to open the next one. I
Mm-hmm.
just got to be ready to walk through it, right? So that's usually how I've confronted the challenges of life. You know,
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
no, that's phenomenal. Okay, okay. It isn't easy. No, no, it isn't easy. Always, and yeah, I mean, you got to keep learning, keep educating, and be consistent. That's huge. That's huge notes. Yeah, I better be making notes. Whoever's listening to this, but how do you balance? Well, we can have a whole coaching on time and balance, but when you think about the spiritual faith and Christianity, how do you balance that in business, entrepreneurship?
That's an interesting question. As I was studying that question, I wanted to flip it and answer it this way. From my perspective, when you pursue your spiritual growth first, you will start growing in a well-being, you will start growing in relationships and financial success. Why? Because you're fulfilling the inner being to the outer being first. You're going from the inside out, not from the outside in. Because sometimes when we go from the outside in, we don't get to the deep self because we start getting consumed by the exterior things, by the cars and the things and the accolades. And then we really don't know who we are because we get overshadowed with the great things and the act, hey, great job, oh, amazing, woohoo, and we forget that once all that shuts down and you're at night by yourself, the question is, who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you? Right? So I like to say let's focus, let's grow in our spiritual growth, in our faith, in our values, in our moral compass. Let's work through that journey, and we're gonna grow in our well-being, mentally, physically, spiritually, in our relationships, in financial success. And you won't let those things define you. If not, you're gonna define all of it because you're in the right place. You have a right foundation.
Put
The
God
Bible says,
first.
yeah, check this out. The Bible says in 3rd John chapter 1, verse 2. And there's John praying to the people, right? He says, Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health as your soul prospers.
Mhm.
That's what it is, as your soul prospers. So if I reverse engineer it, right, which I like to do a lot of times when I read the Bible, that's a little tip there for you guys, right? If I reverse engineer, it says, as your soul prospers, you will be healthy and prosper in all things.
Wow. Okay.
That's
Okay.
how I wanted to flip it, you know, because then it's not a balancing act. Then it's a foundational living. Then you're foundational living in a step-by-step process. I'm well in the inside.
Mm,
I love myself, and that's why I can love others.
interesting. I got a whole new way of reading the Bible. I can't wait to jump
All
on that. Absolutely.
right, let me know what you think.
Absolutely. What advice would you give to an aspiring investors who incorporate faith into their businesses?
What advice would I give to investors to incorporate their faith to their business?
Entrepreneurs, maybe somebody new or even a veteran entrepreneur who should be incorporating faith and or Christianity.
I will say, number one, decide every day when you get up that you're going to be grateful, thankful, and appreciative.
Mm,
Because that changes everything, right? I'm thankful, I'm grateful, and appreciative. I have another day to reset, right? Thank the creator. Number two, thank the creator. They have a new day to start again.
Mm-hmm.
Probably yesterday was an awful day for you. The deals didn't come through. People betrayed you. You're disappointed, right? Like I told my nephew every time he was pitching and he got out of whack, I said, hey, reset, right? So the new day is your reset to continue in your journey of entrepreneurship, investor, businesses. That's number two. Be thankful for the creator that gave you another day, right? Mm-hmm. To be able to embark in your endeavors. Number three, I'll say goodbye to your negative friends, family members, and colleagues. You can't have negative people around you. They're gonna shatter your dreams. They're gonna shatter that good attitude. You got up with a great attitude, and then here comes your negative uncle. What are you doing? You're going over there again. What are you doing again? You're crazy. Nobody did that. What makes you believe you're gonna do it? And you're like, man, this. And because you love them so much, you don't want to. You gotta exclude them. You gotta say, I love you, but if we're gonna be around each other, these are my boundaries for us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about things that we understand and we have in common. So, for example, with my family members, I don't talk business because they still have a poverty mindset.
It's not easy. It's not easy dealing with that.
No. So what I do is what's common for us. So with my mom is, we talk about what she loves. With her husband, we talk about baseball. Right? With my sisters, we talk about their kids because that's what we have in common. But I don't talk business because if I tell them everything I've invested in business, they'll tell me, you're nuts. You're crazy. Right? Here you go dreaming big again. Right? So say goodbye to your negative friends, family members, colleagues.
Pedro, that's phenomenal advice. You're seconds away from being hired as a coach, by the way. This is great information. This is the best way I've heard it being put. Joel Osteen would say some family members you have to love from a distance. Right. And that's about the only way that I've been able to solve that is because the closest people to you who do not understand, and just like you put it, those are the naysayers. It's like I can come up with a billion what ifs. I don't need your. I'm gonna run myself crazy if I listen to you. So no, that's huge. But even from a standpoint of being a Christian, you're saying it's okay to push it aside. I mean, you can reject somebody's negativity, naysay.
100%. If you read the Bible, it's interesting. Jose, I want to share this with your people. Even God Himself has boundaries. Think about that. Even God Himself has boundaries. The Bible says, whoever knocks, he shall open. Whoever calls, he shall listen. Whoever speaks, he's going to listen. Whoever calls, he's going to respond. See, if you don't call, he's not going to respond. If you don't knock, he's not going to open. So even Himself has boundaries. Right? Whoever wants to come to me, He says, negate yourself, take your cross and follow me. See, He wants you to come and follow, but you have to say, I want to. I'm going to decide to go and follow. So He Himself has boundaries, and what makes us better than God? We should have boundaries as well. Mm-hmm. Boundaries protects us from them and from us. Right? Because sometimes, there's always somebody that knows how to get to your nerves to throw you off, man. There's always somebody, right? So boundaries help you protect yourself and protect others and love, right? So that's part of the next steps of exercising your faith, right? Practical tips. Exercise your faith daily, meditation, prayer life. I think you have this practice like we have it, every entrepreneur that takes this serious. You got to plan your day. Plan your day. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Bingo. Yeah.
You gotta plan your days. Mm-hmm. Even the Creator had His days planned. Think about it. He had 6 days of creation. The 7th day He rested. And if you look at the Bible in Genesis, every day He knew what He was gonna do.
It's all there.
And
It's
it's all that
unreal.
he executed every day. Then he sat back and said, everything I've done is good. Right? So he had his plan, his day planned, and we're over here trying to just make fake the funk and just make it happen and whatever God wants and whatever, it's
Mm,
like, no. He wants us to be fruitful by being intentional, right? The only way you can be fruitful is by planning your day and being intentional. And a couple of two more, keep your word. As an
mm,
investor, as a business owner, as a man or woman, keep your word. If you
mm.
say you're gonna be there, be there. If you can't, say you can't. Keep your word because in business that's a big no-no, right?
Wow.
It's a big deal. Keep your word is a big deal. Yeah. You sign the contract, but that doesn't guarantee that you're gonna keep your word,
Mm.
right? And then the last one, love hard and don't take things for granted. You know, don't take things for granted. Love hard, work hard, give it your best. That when you lay down in your bed every night, you can say, "I gave my best." Pedro, you give your best today.
Yeah.
Let's shut down and reset for tomorrow. And if he allows us to get up tomorrow, we're gonna be thankful, grateful, and appreciative. And we're gonna reset that list. We're gonna reset it and keep doing it over and over and over.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, no. That's huge. How can you promote your Christianity through your business?
Well,
And
I
I think
think
about that from putting God first. Real quick on that, I'm trying to get closer to God. I'm trying to get, as they say, sync on the same, vibration and, study all these things. A lot, like I said, I will be reaching out to you more. But one of those things is like, how can I implement it? And what I actually did was for the first time, a couple months ago, we had a live event. The first thing before we got started, I said, let us pray. I wanted to do a small prayer before we get started because I felt like that was genuine. That's what I wanted to do, and it was like I wanted to put him first before all. So, what suggestions would you have to something like that?
that's a brilliant way to promote where you stand, right? I can say personally that that's for the first time ever I saw that same thing with our mutual friend and business colleague Sabrina Franco, right?
Oh,
Fixing
yeah,
Espanol,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they invited me to speak in one of their events about property management, and it's all Spanish. They're celebrating fix and flipping, but all Spanish. And I took my daughter, right? My daughter's an entrepreneur as well. And she said, please let's stand and we're going to ask one of the investors to come and pray. And I said, oh. And I looked at them and I went, I love that.
Yes.
Right? Why? Because if everybody else could be bold to express what they feel and what they believe, and we have to respect it, I believe that we should be bold as well. And also they should respect what we believe, right? We're not
Mm-hmm.
trying to, throw it in their throat and no, it is my event, right? It's like you come into my house, I'm gonna treat you in my house,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if in my house we pray, join us in prayer, even if you don't believe in prayer. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I think that's a beautiful way to say, hey, this is what I believe. This is my stance. Join us in prayer. If you don't want to pray, we're good, but we're gonna start in the right way. Other ways we do that is by with our values and the way we speak and present ourselves, right? Language, posture, right? How,
Yeah.
how, how you present yourself, right? So you don't always have to say, man, I'm a believer. No. How you act will speak bigger, will
Yes.
echo more than what you say,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like I dislike the people that talk a lot, and then when you see their actions, you're like, wait a minute, where's the congruency here? Where's the congruency? That's like I'm off. Is it me? Is it them? I mean, what's going on? So I think congruency in what you believe with your actions will speak a lot louder than what you could ever say. They used to call me in my engineering firm when I was a manager over there. They used to call me the pastor of the engineers, and I never once even prayed
Oh.
because they saw how I conducted myself. They saw how I corrected. You know, just because you're a believer doesn't mean you can't course correct and be stern. But they saw that I corrected with love and grace, but with truth. Hey, you did this. You said you were going to do this. You didn't do this. And it's your approach to people and the grace you give to people, right? You're not being a jerk. You're not being, downplaying people and, disrespecting people. They say, this guy is something different. And then say, hey, Pedro, can I talk to you? Yes. What about? Yeah, man, you just different. I say, okay, let's do it during lunch because I want to respect the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or we'll go out to dinner and give you some more insight on what I believe. So see, I still respected the workplace and the rules, but that didn't dictate how I approach people and love on people. And that's really how I always brought my belief as a believer, as a disciple of Christ into everything I do. It's a day-to-day thing, is a lifestyle, it's life.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't take it off and put it off, take it off and put it on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a consistent daily grind that I do, right? Sacrifice myself every day to be the best version of me.
Give to receive. There it is, back again. Absolutely. So lastly, last question for you is, or what message would you like to give to or encourage those entering in the life of entrepreneurship, getting ready to start their journey, if you will?
Well, in life, Jose, we have choices, and we thank everybody that took a choice to take their time to listen to us, right? To listen to this valuable information, to follow you, listen to us. So thank all your community and the people that logged in to listen to us. You have to think about it. Are you happy with your current version? Your current version. Are you happy with your current version? There's a better version of you, and you have to work towards that. Let it be a better businessman. Let it be a better investor. But overall, the business, let it be the best version of you, of your life, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to encourage them to always look at how can I improve personally first before being able to give to others, because you cannot give what you don't have, right? So work on yourself consistently to grow and be a better version of yourself. Work towards a better today, and I can guarantee you're going to have a better tomorrow and a better future. And if you have kids, if you have a wife, a loved one, they will see that. And they'll be able to follow, not by what you say, it's not about what you do. Wait a minute, dad has changed. Mom has changed. Wow, I see them being more consistent. I see them be more loving and more merciful and more direct. And that's what I tell other entrepreneurs. Grow within yourself, improve yourself, and learn the business that you're embarking in. Learn it, live in it. Find a coach, find a mentor, find somebody that will allow you to reduce the mistakes that they already went through, right? So you can expedite your growth and grow together, right? And grow your family, have a better future. So I encourage everybody that is listening, be a better version of yourself, because the world needs to see it. The world needs to see the best version of you. Let it be faith into your business, and then let your business speak about your faith.
We are winding down to less than 1 minute. This ain't enough time to sit here with Pedro. For those of you that join us, I'm sure you're loving this podcast. I know you're going to want to connect with them. I hope I don't get cut off before I end this, but all of Pedro's social media links I'm going to share directly under this video. So definitely hit him up, send him a message, like, subscribe. He's doing phenomenal stuff. As you saw here, third attempt with was a charm. So I'm glad this went through. Pedro, I can't thank you enough for joining me this evening.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Till next time. Thank you.